Good afternoon, everyone. How's it going out there? Welcome back here to a Friday. Finally made it out here to the weekend. July 18th, 2025 is the date. 12:15 p.m. That's California time here. 1.4 earthquake across the area of, looks like outside of the Salt Lake City area in Utah. Little quake there in the red flag. Also 2.5 here across the Indonesia area. Overnight, newer movement up here across the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench with a pair of 4s up here. Also some deeper activity into the Izu Trench. That should elevate movement up here across this area of the Japan region. That's going to be the Nankai Trough here. I don't see anything showing up, but look at this earthquake right here. A super deep 4.6, 312 miles deep. I'm sure adding some further strain out here. I was just looking at the Japan Meteorological Agency here that shows the earthquake activity, but I don't see any uptick as of yet following that deeper movement. But the general stress here when we see large earthquakes in this area of deeper nature, for one, it should be adding further strain across this area, but also potentially building backup strain here across that subduction zone level. But it does look like things are starting to pressurize out here with a pair of newer quakes up north. Pretty absent of earthquake activity around the Philippines northward today. The Mariana Trench area quiet as well. Typical movement across the Indonesia area. Still a little absent of earthquake activity here, roughly about Papua New Guinea eastward. I know we filled this in a little bit last night with some 4s. Show you guys here real quick the somewhat newer movement. This looks like this struck here after midnight or so around the Port Vila area in the Vanuatu region, but we're still absent of earthquake activity here. Roughly around the Solomon Sea area, Solomon Islands eastward here. Just a little quiet along that zone. No big earthquake activity to note there in the region for now. New Zealand area, got a handful of earthquakes down there. Looks like a newer movement quake there, 3-pointer, further down the line there off the Alpine Fault. Let's check out Hawaii real quick. I know there's nothing showing up there on the USGS map. Well, on the EMSC, one on the USGS map, a 2.2. That was actually from yesterday. We do have, soon, we do have an eruption in the near term here. Look at this. This is the inflation chart here over the last month, or last eruption there back on the the 8th or 9th. Lasted for a short period, and now we're going back up. We're actually above the level seen here in the last couple runs there as far as leading up to the eruption. So this is where we're at now. Should be getting close here to see an eruption there across Kilauea Volcano. Let's go check out the webcam there at the summit area. And right now, still looks like got quite a bit of volcanic gases there seeping through both of those craters. It'll be interesting to watch here because the south vent did not participate here in the last eruption. It was only the north vent there, I believe. And that could mean that it might be more spectacular this time. As far as the pressurization going on there across the south vent, although it's possible that south vent may be just completely covered up and nothing's going to come through it anymore, or we could get a blockage on the north vent too, and that may even make it a little bit more spectacular, or we could get some type of magma migration around somewhere else across the crater area. But for now, we'll watch and see how things progress here. But either way, this has been ongoing since December of last year. But eruption coming up here soon. I wouldn't doubt it if it happens here sometime during the day today. Little cluster going on up there across the Aleutian Trench still. This is some aftershock sequences here. There's been a bunch of aftershock activity, but that is expected from a 7.3. Got 57 earthquakes here in the last couple days, including the 7.3 so far. Looks like they dropped that magnitude there from a 5.7 to a 5.6 because that previous number lasted for a little while as far as the largest aftershock. But we got 1, 2, 3, five pointers, number of 4-pointers, number of 3-pointers, and there should be way more 2-pointers out there, and then potentially hundreds of ones. But as you note, as you can see here, for the most part, they're not going to report anything below 2.5. They do have 2 of them, but that just seems like they're maybe tossing 2 in just for the heck of it. But I guarantee you there's always going to be a certain number of 3s, more so than 4s. And so if you were to have 100 3-pointers, there should be at least 150 or so 2-pointers, and then double that amount for 1-pointers. That is just the way the earthquake sequences work out here following a large event. But similar to what we had there in Northern California with that 7-pointer, for the longest time they were not reporting anything below 2.5, and then eventually they went ahead and added the smaller ones as well. But with that large of a sequence going on there, I'm sure it can take a little bit of work. All right, earthquake activity up at Mount Rainier still continuing to this date. A couple earthquakes this morning. Total tally here across Mount Rainier Volcano in Washington is 855 earthquakes. That's the located ones that they can find, pinpoint, and determine the exact magnitude, location, and depth there beneath the volcano. Some of these last couple ones there, somewhat deeper. Now these negative ones are adjusting for sea level and also the elevation difference up here, right? 14,411 feet is one of the peaks up here. I think that may be the highest up there. I think it is. So when you have a negative reading here on the depth of the earthquake, like for example the negative 0.3, that's above sea level, right? That's why you have to have a negative one, but below the summit area, roughly a mile or 2. Some of these other ones here are deeper underneath the summit area. Nothing super deep in terms of magma activity, but wow, what a swarm that is. Definitely a one for the books. Let's go see what the seismograph station looks like there today across Mount Rainier. I would love to go up there and visit and tour the area. I'm sure it's absolutely beautiful this time of year. 804 earthquakes these guys are reporting here from the PNSN network. Far as the seismograph station goes, let's check this out here real quick, see what we have, make sure the bells are off, which they are. Yeah, some earthquake activity here. See these spikes, those are indeed localized earthquakes. These other noises out here, yeah, something's always going on here. I don't know what that is, but if you go back on the last couple runs, you can see the same type of signal happening every so often. I don't know if it's maybe someone messing with something, plugging something in, or doing something otherwise. I don't know, but this is a digital seismograph station, so it is going to pick up maybe some interference there. But yeah, earthquake activity there yesterday as well, and again today. Got a number of earthquakes up there on the map, or up here on the graph I should say. Still continuing. Let's see if there's any new updates here with this volcano. This goes to today's date. I'm glad they're still updating this. 838 raw data earthquakes between the first, but technically this didn't really begin until the 8th to today's time period. Little spotty here in the last couple days, but we'll continue to watch it. There was a couple deep ones here, if you notice. Some down there around the magma chamber, almost 6 miles underneath the area. And what's interesting here is as the swarm started, the earthquakes each day got shallower and shallower. You can pretty much follow a line of activity here. See that line? Connect the dots. That's interesting. But since then, really no deeper activity. And there's been no adjustments. I still have yet to receive an email from any of the USGS Volcano folks there that I messaged. I realize they're busy, but I'm a member of the public here, and I got a decent following. We just want to know, if there's some more seismograph stations out there besides the ones that are malfunctioning. Let me show you guys the malfunction. For the most part, when any one of the public asks, hey, I want to look at inflation at a volcano there, the ones that the USGS are monitoring. And they'll send you over here to this volcano. It's usgs.gov. and then the Volcano program here. But they got all this equipment on here. That'd be awesome if I could click on it and voila, it works. But the links to all of these, for the most part, are non-existent. They don't work. Some of the seismograph stations up here at the Volcano do, but this GPS station, there we go. No data coming in. There is one down here across the southeastern edge of the volcano, but I'm curious more about the western side of the volcano. No uptick here going on. I guess if there was something coming up, we would note it all across the volcano, right? But how come there's no GPS stations out here, on the west side? There was one, and they removed it for some reason. It used to be here around this seismograph station. There's one way up to the northwest here at the base, but that doesn't help us out, I'm kind of curious about the summit area. And also, where's our gas and emissions station out here? I know USGS has some for the Mount St. Helens area. Why not for this volcano? And if there are some, how come they're not being made to the public out here? Right? This is taxpayer equipment. We paid for it. I paid for this. These are my seismograph stations here, and yours too. This is all of our seismograph stations and equipment that should be working out here. Temperature, infrasound. Let's see if we can get some temperatures to work out here. Where'd they go? We got one way over here. What does that have to do? That's way over there. How come none at the volcano? So this is why I messaged, someone there, a couple people with the USGS. A girl there that recently did a social media post on the ongoing earthquake swarm, and also a message. I think someone up above her as well, asking about if there's a little bit more information here to where we can access this equipment, because as you can see, for a well monitored volcano, I don't really see much of anything on here. No temperature. Elevated temperature readings or anything. That one that's way over here is offline. So anyway, we'll see what happens. And this tilt meter, I don't even know if that works. That one's offline as well. It just doesn't do any good. Doesn't do any of us any good just to have, an icon up here and you click on it and it doesn't do anything. So if you go over here to Mount St. Helens now, they have working equipment. Go back over here. That's Adams. At least last time I checked, it was working. Look at the gas emission stations here. That's what you want. How come we don't have access to that there at Mount Rainier? You can check out the air temperature, barometric pressure, wind direction, H2O, CO2 ratio, carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide's offline. There's past month of hydrogen sulfide. Pretty consistent there, no spikes or anything there at Mount St. Helens. But see, you got that, and then a lot of these stations here are working. Not for sure what those are. It looks like there's a couple smaller earthquakes here, but I don't know what the other noise is. Let's see if that's showing up anywhere else. That one's actually offline. That GPS station is functioning since the 22nd. But yeah, anyway, there's more monitored equipment out here that should be set up there for Mount Rainier as well. Maybe they'll write me back. Maybe they won't. Similar to, I messaged Dr. Lucy Jones here a while back last year when we were having all those fours. I just wanted to ask her a couple quick questions. And, yeah, she never emailed me back at all. I tried to set up an appointment with her as well, and nobody from her office ever got back to me. So I guess I'm just a nobody. Nobody wants to talk to me. What's going on? All right, anyway, moving on past that, let's see what we got here for Northern California. A couple earthquakes out here today in the 1 range. I don't think we got anything major going on out here. One earthquake there from yesterday, 3-pointer. That's on the Garlock Fault shear zone. A couple more earthquakes there today, but it looks a little quiet out here. 34 earthquakes in the last 24 hours. mixed bag from today and yesterday, but nothing big going on there now. Not a whole lot there in Yellowstone, and I don't think they've integrated that new program into this site here. Let's see if I can access this. I guess I should probably email one of these folks there at the University of Utah, where they get where they have the live seismograph stations there. See, they've removed it. This used to be a layout to where you could access all the live seismograph stations, but now you got to go over here, click on station map, and then. But even so, these aren't working for me. At least they weren't working last night. I haven't checked them yet today. But and I tried on different browsers and everything. You click over here, view seismogram, and nothing shows up here. So I don't know if Timothy has. I think he mentioned something in the email to me recently here. Timothy, one of our mods on the channel, and he's also got his own web page there with a bunch of integrated seismograph stations and all sorts of stuff on the page. But see, that's not working. None of these are working. And that's a little disappointing, because I do like to access and see visually what's going on up here in Yellowstone, because we've had swarms of hundreds of earthquakes before, and they never show up here on the map unless they're above 2.5, or they decide to click the switch and say, yep, now we got a swarm going on, even though it's been, a couple days ago. But for what we have here, for the information they're putting out, nothing big going on up there across Yellowstone, but hopefully they get that fixed there. I'll email someone after this update there at the University of Utah, let them know I can't access it. Oil field still rocking and rolling. Nothing else going on there across the eastern portion of the country. Some movement still out there across Guatemala. 5.1. Now this is upstream from our earthquakes last week. Let's see, has it been over 7 days already? I guess it has, huh? Goodness. Okay, because remember we had a 5-pointer, 5.7 over here around Guatemala on the 8th. Looks like a couple deeper quakes in there as well. Now we're getting some shallow adjustment up towards the subduction zone. That's, I'll show you on the oceanic crust map. This is pretty much right in the middle of the Middle America Trench here. Major subduction zone that can and will produce mega quakes. Got a little interesting series of quakes there. Again, pretty much just upstream from the Guatemala quake here a week and a half ago or so, 10 days ago. South America, a couple earthquakes down there, really nothing big going on. Latest quake shows a 4.7 back here south into the Indonesia area. For that, like I say, there's not anything major going on here yet today. We do have some movement down here in the Gulf or in the Baja California area. A couple threes down there. Some from last night, it looks like. There's that 3-pointer from yesterday in the darker red circle there in the Garlock Fault shear zone. May see some migration northward. We'll watch that today across Southern California. The Atlantic Ocean, pretty quiet. Some movement around the Mediterranean here today as well. Looks like around Turkey. As far as the Iceland goes, Iceland eruption. We'll head over there real quick and check that out, see what we have going on. Let's see, has this been updated? Looks like lava flow has decreased, although the eruptive fissure has lengthened a little bit. This is all to the north here of the area. Another earthquake there, it looks like. That's up in Alaska, 3.1. Whoa, what happened here? How'd this get so big? Did I do that? Did I do that? There we go. It almost looks like this is about ready to come to an end in terms of this eruption activity there. Beautiful imagery, though. That's up there in Iceland. There's a little pollution map and whatnot. But Yeah, this is all to the north of Grindavik down here, working its way up north of the craters area. Anyway, there it is, a little visual on the map as well. We've got Grindavik down here, Blue Lagoon, and the power plant well north. That may continue well north as well from here on out. We'll have to see. All right, let's see what else. Here's another earthquake there in the Sandpoint area of Alaska. Aftershock sequences there. I don't see any migrational movement here following that large event. In fact, things have been kind of mellow worldwide since that 7.3 struck. But as always, we'll continue to watch it and report back on things. Another coronal hole out here, 66 and 65. That one's a little bit more center disk of the sun. And once it gets here into position, we'll have to watch that, see if it amplifies or not. But that may stir up some aurora activity once the arrival of the high-speed solar wind stream hits the planet. Following, it's got to be facing us first, and then we got 48 to 72 hours before that arrives. So a number of days before we see any effects from that. That coronal hole back a couple days ago when it was facing the Earth, yeah, it seemed like we had a big uptick in earthquake activity here. A bunch of 6s, 5s, and even the 7-pointer. We'll kind of see what happens here with this one. Not as big, but just kind of putting together some data when it comes to solar activity and earthquake relation. Whether we see whether the two go hand in hand or not. I'm just kind of watching this. No major auroras there in the forecast for now. Solar flare activity continues to be on the low side. We do have a number of deeply cored sunspots, but not a whole lot of magnetically complex sunspots. These are deep cores, but I don't see anything of any interest out here as far as any major flares. Same for this one. This one's just splitting like crazy. Not a whole lot of redevelopment in the middle. And a couple areas back out there on the eastern limb that we'll have to watch here in the coming days. See if they don't maybe stir things up a little bit for the flaring activity. But we'll check back on that once they are into the Earth-directed view a little bit more. As far as any close approach asteroids out here on this Friday, see if we got any doom and gloom here. Doesn't look like it. Pretty quiet out there. All these are millions of miles away. Got one coming in here today, but that's 775,000. Little bitty 69-foot asteroid. Storm Prediction Center. Got, let's see what we got out here today. A bunch of thunderstorm activity. I wish we had some of that over here across my neck of the woods. 5% chance, my neck of the rice fields, I should say. 5% chance here of some tornado activity, surrounded by 2%. So just a heads up if you're in this zone. A little bit of wind and a little bit of hail threat out there today for your Friday. For tomorrow, Saturday, got another slight risk out there across the same regions, it looks like. A little 2% chance for some tornado activity, wind, and even a little bit of hail threats out there. It is that time of year, right? Summertime. Most of the storm track there is north. As far as any major hurricane development goes out here, I know they're getting a lot of rain down here from that tropical system around the Gulf Coast states. But anything else brewing out here? Nothing of any pattern. I don't see anything, really heading in that direction as far as tropical systems go. All right, live look here at the seismograph stations, which are online. Little earthquake there on Petrolia. That's going to be a really small microquake, probably maybe a 1.1 or so. But those earthquakes they're almost always happening, but they're not always reporting here. As you can see, there's nothing being reported, and it won't show up. For that being said, there not a whole lot else there on the seismograph stations. Things look pretty calm. Little earthquake there on Barrett as well, Southern California. Pretty quiet out there for now. All right, you enjoy your Friday, folks. Have a wonderful day. It's supposed to be 98 degrees here, so I don't know. Just another hot day. But we do have some cooler weather coming up here. It's supposed to be back down in the 80s here next week, which I will take. For summertime, that's quite cool for us. Have a good one. We'll see you guys back out here a little bit later on for the Friday night update. By the way, the member drawing is coming up here on the 20th. That puts us on a Sunday. I may shift it off to Monday. I don't know yet. But either way, the member drawing is coming up. And it's something we do every single month here for all the members. We put you guys in the fishbowl, and we stir it up, and we pick out a lucky winner or two. And if your name is called, you got to get a hold of me and get a couple choices there of winning some prizes. It's just a monthly thing that we've done. It's been over 2 years now. Been over 2 years. Has it been longer? I think it's been close to 3 years now that we've been doing this. So we just give away some cash prizes there if you want that, some gift cards or whatever of your choice. Or if you want some geology mining kit stuff, you're welcome to that as well. That gets sent directly to your house from Amazon or wherever we order it from. And then also, if you want some Earthmaster merchandise, like a cool t-shirt or something. We even got some duffel bags and Earthmaster socks. I haven't ordered any socks yet, but they look pretty cool. Anyway, have yourself a wonderful Friday, folks. We'll see you guys back out here a little bit later on this evening. Take care.